Hello, Greg, and everybody at AOS, and anyone that Greg has forwarded this link to. My name is Dr. Lance Ford, and my job responsibility for Cisco is to work with educators, and I mean that in the broadest sense of the word. So K to 12, absolutely, higher ed, corporate trainers, government officials, all of whom are using Cisco Collaboration to reach their learners. Now, they're doing this in a variety of ways. Some of them are doing it asynchronously. Some of them are doing it synchronously. But 9 times out of 10 at this point in the evolution of the technology, they're doing it in both ways. It's a blended modality. The power of the technology means that it really doesn't matter where I am geographically. You've actually clicked a link that has directed you back to scenic, rural, southeast Oklahoma. A little bitty town called Howe. I'm embedded in the public school system here. There are less than a dozen streets in this town, and there are absolutely no stoplights. And I would start by saying that's one of the reasons we have access to this tool, is because we don't have a lot of the expertise that you may readily have available to you in your community. So being able to seamlessly bring that expertise in as a part of an engagement, whether that be with students, with adults, whoever, is very, very, very important for us. So when we look at this, I want you to know real quickly that I'm in this building. I have no idea what you're going to hear off camera. That is the playground. My wife's classroom is next door, and I just heard a bunch of kids come in. So I have no idea what will happen while I make these recordings, but I can tell you this. You can rest assured this is the real world. This is not a Cisco test tube somewhere in an office. This is really in a public school. Now, when we look at the Cisco technologies that we're talking about today, one of the first things I want us to kind of explore as a part of this is, what do you already use in your teaching and learning environment where you are? Maybe you have some sort of display device, like the one I'm using for annotation. This is simply a smartboard. Maybe you have another device, maybe something like a document camera, so you can be able to display images. Maybe you use your iPad. I really don't know what you have, but I will tell you this. You need to be able to repurpose it and rock what you've got as a part of this equation. Now, why is that important? Well, it's important on a variety of fronts. Number one, many of your users already know how to use that device. And so, as a part of this, we want to scaffold what they know to what they don't know, and we want to scaffold those two experiences together. Now, how are we doing that today? Well, whether it's your document camera, your laptop, your iPad, in my space, all of those things conjoin together at the Cisco codec, right? Now, you may think to yourself, well, Cisco codec, is that a piece of software? Could be. Is that a piece of hardware? Could be. What does that look like? Well, it could look like that little guy right up there. That is an SX10. It's about the size of a shoebox. That is a Cisco codec. It could be a SX20. It could be an SX80. It could be a physical big piece of hardware that has multiple screens. Maybe something that looks like this. All right. This is an MX700, and it has everything built into it, including the dual cameras, beautiful 8 or 9 speakers across the top, great stereo surround sound, and the 2 monitors. So when we say Cisco codec, I don't want you to get bogged down with one simplistic mindset or only one way to do it. I want you to think about why you'd want to conjoin all of those things together at the Cisco codec. And I might say that one of the main reasons is so that you can repurpose that skill set. Number 2, you've already got an investment. All right? You've purchased the laptop, you've purchased the iPad, you've purchased the smart board, or in that case right over there, you've purchased the Aquas board. You may have an E-beam on top of a monitor. All right? All of these different devices, if they conjoin at this device, this becomes our gateway to the outside world. What does that do for me? It allows me to do a lot of things. Number one, it allows me to make recordings like I'm doing right now at the touch of a button. It's not difficult to start a recording process. All I simply do is come over to my touch panel, and you've seen me come over here a couple of times now, and I simply click a link. When I click that link on my touch panel, that touch panel looks like a little iPad, all right? You see 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, if you were here live with me right now, we'd not only be recording me, but we'd be recording you. And again, we wouldn't just be recording what we're saying, we'd be recording all the things that are going on that whiteboard, on that iPad, on that laptop that you already own. So being able to repurpose those and give them a common conjoining point allows me to do amazing things like record. Now, there's a lot of other things that we're going to talk about as we go through this process together. So I don't want to overburden you with this initial recording. I just want you to start thinking about being able to rock what you've got, looking at what you have, how do you use it today, and what if we could glue those devices together, so to speak, with a Cisco codec that would allow us to do some amazing things. Start with that for a brainstorm process. Let me give you a little assignment here. Being the teacher that I am, I know I've got to do it. So list about 3 or 4 objects, devices, visuals, or otherwise that you use to reach learners. Now, for some of you, that's a K-12 environment, all right? And those students may have their own laptops. That's a perfect example of a device. We'll talk some about that here in a little bit. For some of you, you're in corporate training, and you're using sticky notes or big flip charts or something like that. List that down, and let's come back together here in just a second and think about what happens when we conjoin all of that using this tool. See you in a minute. Bye-bye.